Shadow of Succession, Bahadur Shah, the first and the fractured empire when a great emperor dies. His crown becomes a prize, and the empire trembles under the ambitions of sons, generals, and shadows, who will claim the throne, and at what cost? Aurangzeb's death, the end of an era. The sun rose over the Deccan plateau in early 1707, its golden light falling on a world that had known decades of relentless conquest. Aurangzeb, the emperor who had expanded the Mughal Empire to its greatest territorial reach, lay on his deathbed. His body, worn from 50 years of campaigns and austerity, was a stark contrast to the palaces he left behind, marble halls echoing with the memory of power. Gardens once vibrant, now shadowed by exhaustion. Around him, his sons paced nervously. Bahadur Shah, eldest and experienced, understood the weight of the empire's legacy. Azam Shah, ambitious and impatient, believed the crown was rightfully his. And in the wings, other princes, quietly scheming, waited for opportunity. Every whisper, every glance carried the tension of imminent conflict. The battle for the crown, Azam Shah declared himself emperor in the Deccan, raising banners and summoning armies loyal to his name. Meanwhile, Bahadur Shah rallied his forces from the north, marching south with the determination of a man who knew that victory meant survival, not just for himself, but for the empire he hoped to preserve. The two brothers met at Jajau, a dusty field under a merciless sun. The air was thick with anticipation. Cavalry clashed, cannon roared, and arrows arced like deadly rain. Soldiers on both sides fought not only for victory, but for the legacy of an empire that could vanish with a single defeat. In the chaos, Azam Shah fell, and his army scattered. Bahadur Shah emerged victorious, bloodied but resolute. Yet this victory was bittersweet. The empire he inherited was fractured, exhausted, and vulnerable, and his triumph did little to restore the authority that had begun to slip from Delhi. Upon his coronation, Bahadur Shah I faced the enormous task of holding an empire together while governing through shadows. Provincial governors in Bengal, Awadh, and the Deccan had tasted independence during the succession struggle. Some were loyal in name only, sending tribute irregularly and acting as autonomous rulers. Even within his family, rival princes lingered as reminders of the throne's fragility. Nobles who had supported Azam Shah now recalibrated, pledging cautious allegiance to Bahadur Shah, each move measured and calculated. Delhi, the heart of the empire, retained its grandeur, marble halls, gardens, and grand ceremonies, but power had already begun to drift away from the center, while Bahadur Shah managed to restore a semblance of stability. The empire's vast territories could not be ruled directly. Governors, generals, and local leaders began building independent power bases. In Bengal, Awadh, and the Deccan autonomous states emerged quietly, setting the stage for the rise of the Marathas, Nawabs, and Rajputs. The emperor's victories at Jajau ensured a fragile order, but the empire's heart was no longer as strong as its titles suggested. The Mughal crown was now more a symbol of tradition than command its glow, overshadowed by the ambitions of those who would shape India's future outside Delhi's walls. Bahadur Shah I held the crown, but the empire had begun to drift. Power had moved into the hands of governors, generals, and the ambitious Marathas rising in the Deccan. History teaches us that authority is more than a crownet, is the recognition of loyalty, strength, and respect. Even the most glorious empires can fracture from within when the shadow of succession falls.